Wow, it's not a Blue Jays win without a little bit of heart palpitations and some nervousness at the end. But the Blue Jays got the job done, and this was a huge result for them going forward. They won a series against a first place team. I know some people may not be convinced and they may not be sold on the performance that we saw today, but the offense turned it around a little bit. Saw some good things out of Ernie Clement and the top of the order as well. And Nick, this was a huge result for them going forward. We know how tough this month of June is going to be for them. They got the Orioles, they got the Yankees, they got the Astros to start off the month of July. Like this is not an easy schedule by any means. And here we go. Here we go. They picked up 2 out of 3 wins against the Cleveland Guardians, a team that was playing really well as of late, and they needed this, Nick. There's no other way to put it. And it looked like maybe they weren't going to get it towards the end of the game here today, but they got the job done. A little bit of nervousness there at the end, but they got the W, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, this is the time for them to go on a win streak. I spoke on in the video earlier, like they need to win a lot of games and go on a bit of a win streak, and this is the start to it. Brutal loss against the Guardians in game one, but like they've been doing all season, and like they did just a couple weeks ago against the Orioles, they came back and won 2 games in a row to take the series. It was a split against the Orioles, but it's a big win against a very, very good team. Yeah, they're missing Jose Ramirez, but Peter, we'll get into the box score in a second. Each win matters at this point. Now we're back to 1 game within 500. So I'm going to, maybe they can finally get there tomorrow against Boston, but they're inching, like they're never out of it. And there's games where the offense looks great. And then there's games like this where or like a couple days ago where the offense looks terrible. If they can find some consistency, will be good, but they're starting to play the guys that can hit, and Ernie Clement, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Addison Burge are starting to get it going. Spencer Horwitz has an OPS north of 850 since his call-up. Like, it's looking promising. Yeah, there's still going to be games where they don't hit well, and they need to stop those because that's really rough, but a win's a win, and now we're within 1 game of 500, where 2 days ago, after a brutal loss, we were worried about losing the series and then being even further down. So, I don't know. I'm happy. I'm happy right now, and I'm just going to take the win for what it is.
Yeah, you take the W's however you can get them in Major League Baseball, especially if you're struggling to pick them up in consecutive games. But I saw this tweet, Nick. We don't have the graphic to show here, but I want to read it out. And it was from Dave Hodge, one of the more notable Canadian reporters of all time, really. And he said, which is it? The Blue Jays lose often enough to stop you from believing in them, or win often enough to stop you from giving up on them? Now, I don't even
Yeah.
know where I fall. And that's a great, great question because I don't even know where I fall on that side of the fence there. Do they lose often enough and we do say, oh my God, the season's over, but then they show flashes of being this really good team and they show flashes of great offense and putting it all together for a couple of games at a time. And we're like, okay, this is the real Blue Jays. This is what we could expect to see throughout the rest of the season. It's been a season of inconsistency for them, and that's the best way to put it. That question was a really good one by Dave Hodge, and I mean the likes and the views on it are like signifying that it was a good question because man, Nick, I still don't know where I fall on that side of the ledger, but today was a great result and just great to see the boys back in the win column for 2 games in a row. It's going to be tough going forward, but they just got to keep building and keep stringing together good performances. Even if they lose, I mean, they just got to stay competitive and be in the mix and give themselves a chance in every ball game.
I mean, they bounced back after a horrible loss against the Guardians, and they won 2 games in a row against, again, Guardians are almost 20 games over 500, something like that. Like, they're a very, very good team, and they keep you believing. The question's good. I mean, right when you think they're going to be down and out, and they're going to fall, and they're going to free fall, they stay right there, and they come up with a huge win. Vladdy had a phenomenal game today, just missed a 3-run home run. You have Dalton Varsho, who had a grand slam, Ernie Clement, who had the 2-run homer. If these guys and the Buffalo boys can continue to hit like they've been hitting, Clement's been on the heater, Barger's been on, he
Yeah.
smokes the ball, and Spencer Horwitz gets on base a ton and knocks in runners at that leadoff spot. Like, they just finally have switched to the younger guys, and I think that we're going to see Barger, Horwitz play every day against righties, and maybe even Clement, and some of those guys who are cooled off a little bit are going to play less, but I don't know if the offense can stabilize. I have faith in the team. The bullpen's a little bit rough, but especially after the Jimmy Garcia injury, I don't know. I believe, and you can look at the schedule coming up. They're going to have to believe. You have the Red Sox. I think the Jays, if they need to sweep the Red Sox, at least win the series, but I would like to see a sweep. We need to get on a win streak at some point before the trade deadline to give the front office some sort of direction. And this seems like the time to do it, even though it's very, very tough competition. Red Sox and Guardians, and then the Red Sox again.
I wouldn't ask for a sweep. Just start winning series. Keep winning series. That's the one thing we could ask for with this team. They haven't shown the ability to be able to sweep most teams in the past couple of seasons. Don't know why that is, but if you win 2 out of 3 for the majority of your series from here on out till the rest of the season, I think you put yourself in a pretty good spot in terms of the wild card race. Now, the Twins are up again today. They're playing a doubleheader against the Oakland A's, so they're still separating and they're still keeping themselves in that final wild card spot. But 2 out of 3
Yeah.
consistently, I think that gives you a pretty good shot going forward. So the Jays just need to stay in the mix. They got to keep playing good baseball. Let's hope it's nothing serious with Jimmy Garcia as well, because he did leave this outing prematurely. Maybe that was for the best. Maybe he just didn't have it today, and Nate Pearson had to come in and save the day. Maybe that worked out for the Jays nicely, but let's hope it's nothing serious with Garcia, because he has been the best reliever on this team. And Nick, they are headed in the right direction. And I know the bullpen has been
Shaky.
pretty bad for the majority of the season, but they have been good lately. They have been pretty good lately. Like the pitching overall, the starting pitching has had a 2.5 ERA in this stretch of games that they've been pitching really well. And the bullpen, I'm not sure what their individual ERA is as a group, but I know that the team ERA has been around 3.2. So if the bullpen was really blowing it that badly, they would have ballooned that ERA figure up a lot more. So they've been doing their job quietly. They've been getting the job done quietly, and they've just been chipping away. Chad Green has been pretty solid. Brendan Little as well when called upon. And I know Garcia didn't have it today, but he has been one of the more consistent bullpen arms in baseball this year.
I'm just happy. I think the reason I'm happy is because they won today. That's all I wanted. I just wanted them to win the series. I mean, coming in, we said they each need to win the series. And again, a sweep, you're right. Probably too much to ask for. Um, if they can win the next 2 series, like there's a lot. The scary part is that you look at the rest of the schedule for this month. Red Sox are a solid. Guardians really good. Yankees borderline the best team in baseball. So it's like they need to stack up wins before that Yankees series. But I mean, if they want to compete and they want to be the team that they think they are, they need to be able to beat the Yankees anyway. So I guess it would be a good test for them. Do you believe? Do you believe in the offense? Do you think it's going to be random? Do you think it's just good for the rest of the season? We're going to have times like this where they go up, they score 2 runs, and then they don't score any runs the next game. What's up, Mark? And what's up, everybody? We'll take some questions as well. Grateful for the
Mhm.
series win. I'm just happy they won the series. And Peter, I've been saying this now for the past couple weeks, and I messaged it to you off camera. Like, I just think they look like a better team than they did when they were really struggling, even though the record hasn't fully indicated that. They just look like a better team. But then they're going to have games like 2 days ago where the offense free falls, and then I look like an idiot. So I don't know. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
They're playing better baseball, more complete baseball, even though it's not necessarily resulting in massive win streaks. They haven't been free falling very much, though they need to go on a win streak, and they need to go on it very soon.
No, they're just teetering on that 500 mark. They haven't been there, but like they're staying within distance of that, and they're not gaining any ground. They're not really losing any ground in that regard either. But yeah, this is going to be a really tough schedule because you got Boston. I mean, yeah, you got Boston, Cleveland in Cleveland, then Boston in Boston, and then you got the Yankees, you got the Orioles, you got the Astros, and the Seattle Mariners in Seattle, which has not been kind to the Blue Jays in recent memory, which I will be at, by the way. I'm going back to Seattle, making the
Shut up.
trip yet again. Going to be a lot of fun. Great ballpark if you guys haven't checked it out already. But yeah, it's tough. There's no other way to put it. It's a tough stretch of games against really good teams, and the Red Sox too have been pretty surprising. They're not pushovers whatsoever. And in that series, you're going to see Brian Bayo, you're going to see Tanner Houck, and you're going to see some good arms, Nick Pivetta as well for the Red Sox. Those are their top 3 arms that you'll see in that series. So yeah, even though the Jays on paper are a better team, it's not going to be easy because you're facing some pretty good pitching, and we know that the Jays tend to struggle. But in your question, in terms of the offense, Nick, I really don't know what to expect from them on a game-to-game basis. I do like what I'm seeing out of the Buffalo boys, though, that have come up and injected some life into this lineup. They can't be taken out. They can't. It's that simple. Ernie Clement has to stay in the lineup every day. You got to find a place for him. I don't care where it is, but you got to ride out this hot streak. And that's how it works with any player that gets hot. If someone, let's say Davis Schneider gets hot, he's got to be in the top two orders of the lineup, and he's got to be playing somewhere in the field on a nightly basis. You can't afford to take his bat out of the lineup. George Springer has not been good at all. He's been their worst player, and he's playing every day. So I know that he's getting paid a lot of money, but let's use the Houston Astros as an example here. They just DFA'd Jose Abreu. They released him. He was owed $30 more million.
Yeah.
I know you still owe Springer probably around
50, I think.
70, 75 over the next 3 years, but if he's not cutting it, then you have the money to get rid of him. And he's dead weight at this point if he's in the lineup every single day. I hate that I keep ripping on the guy because he's one of my favorite players on the team, but he's just not cutting it right now. So if Barger comes up and does his job better than George Springer does, he has to be in the lineup. You're not in the business of playing guys because they're making money. You got to play the guys that are winning you ball games. And Kevin Kiermaier is making quite a bit of money as well. He hasn't really seen the field too much lately. Same thing with Justin Turner. If guys are outperforming the big contracts on the team, they're the ones that need to be in the lineup until they're not hot anymore. That's how it's got to go. We can't keep waiting for George Springer to catch fire and have a resurgent second half. I don't know if that's going to happen. And his at-bats don't look promising either. It's not like he's fouling off pitches and making the pitchers work. He's looking really bad up there. He's striking out on 3 pitches. He's hitting ground balls on very hittable pitches. So I don't like what I'm seeing out of him. So if he's not cutting it, Barger's got to be in the lineup against righties. Ernie Clement's got to be in the lineup against lefties, and that's just how it's got to roll for the rest of the season. You got to play the best possible lineup.
Someone's saying I would like to see Relvis at DH. He had another home run, his third in his last 10th game. I think the Jays are trending towards what you're saying right now. Peter, with playing the guys who are hot. Spencer Horwitz we saw today. We saw Barger, and I think, like Dan Shulman mentioned, every day against righties, we should see Barger and Horwitz until they give a reason not to play them. And even Ernie Clement, throw him in there. IKF has been good. They just got to play the offense and let the rest figure itself out. And since the Buffalo boys have come up, they've been a lot more stable. Obviously they had that horrible game against the Guardians, but with Barger up there, Spencer Horwitz has been really, really good. He's translated a lot.
But who got the hits? Who got the hits in those games?
Clement.
It was the Buffalo boys. It was Clement who had two
of them,
and it was Davis Schneider who had one. And then what happened the next day to Clement? He was out of the lineup. So that can't happen. That just can't happen.
Hopefully
Sorry to cut you off there, Nick.
How many wins do you think the Jays are going to take in the Boston series? To be fair, after game 1, I did come on and say the Jays were going to win the next 2. So, I'm just going to say they take 2 out of 3. I think they win tomorrow. I think they finally get to 500 tomorrow. I really do. I think they do. With who's on the bump tomorrow? Would it be Chris Bassett, I believe?
Let me see.
You said Kikuchi, I think. I think it's Kikuchi tomorrow. I would like to see a Relvis at DH. And a Relvis is one, he cooled off a bit, then he's hitting for some power. Also, shout out to the 80 or so in here. Hit the like button. Let's get to 30 likes. We all love seeing numbers go up. It's fun. It's fun.
Kikuchi versus Pivetta tomorrow.
It's going to be... Okay, so I would predict then we should see Barger and Horwitz again. We should see Barger and Horwitz back in the lineup almost surely. Having no Bo didn't seem to hurt too... We had no Bo. We've had no... He hasn't been good, so it doesn't really matter, honestly. But
but he's hurt. I think he's dealing
hurt.
with something.
He is hurt. Yeah, Bo is hurt. If you want a good reason to Schneider, why ask? If you want a good reason to fire Schneider, ask why we put Springer in his DH.
I got a update here on Jimmy Garcia.
Okay.
Jimmy Garcia left the game with right elbow soreness, said John Schneider, and that's not good. Never want to hear elbow or shoulder associated with a pitcher's injury. So
Romano's
let's
out.
Hope,
Garcia's, if he's out for a bit.
Serious.
Yariel pitched today, really good, 79 pitches. He'll probably be coming back.
It wasn't great today. Struggled with control.
I'm just happy he's getting his pitching out. His pitches up.
Yeah, only lasted 3 innings, but he
healthy.
A lot of strikeouts again. So take the good with the bad with the Ariel. His control has always been a little bit shaky, but he's got great stuff, man, and I expect to see him pretty soon as well.
Especially if Jimmy Garcia's down. And shout out to Brendan Little, who's kind of, if you look at his advanced stats, very promising stuff. He's not going to blow you away. I think he has an expected ERA of 3.6 or 3.5. he's kind of doing what Tim Mesa did last year and what Tim Mesa has been doing, because Tim Mesa's been terrible. So he's kind of been stepping into that spot, and he's been really,
Mhm.
really making Ariel the closer. I think Chad Green would take the closer spot, and then Nate Pearson would take the eighth inning, depending. Trevor Richards maybe as well. Like, our bullpen is fine, really. Even with that injury, they can sustain it with how good the ones have been. But they might have to go out there, Peter, and I don't know if they're going to find a reliever, but the thing is, it's getting really thin. Like, they have Bowden Francis. We're still running bullpen days. So it's like, I don't know what exactly
Yeah.
they're going to do. Yeah, really bad. Really bad. What's up, Victor?
It's too early in the season to be doing bullpen days every fifth day. It's not sustainable, especially considering the injuries that you have in
Yep.
your pen right now, right? So, yeah, I think Eric Swanson might be coming up soon as well. Not sure how he's doing in AAA. I'm actually going to check that out and let you guys know in a bit. But Swanson, he's probably going to have to come up soon, and we're going to have to see other pitchers step up.
Per.
Yeah, I guess, but you can never have too many arms, right? Could never have too many arms. So the Jays got to find something here that works for them because a bullpen day every fifth day, it's just not going to work. Not going to work considering how fickle their arms have been this year.
Yeah, and they have one off day in the next 13 days. So, or
A
14
lot.
days, one off day. They play tomorrow, the next day off Thursday, then they play it for a while. So it's like they're not going to have much time for off days. Romano, like, our best two relievers are done. And luckily, they have Nate Pearson, who's been pitching really well, Chad Green, who's been pitching to a sub 2 ERA. So there is promise. It's just, and luckily, our starters as well have been decent, even though Kikuchi's been a little shaky as of late. But thin ice with the bullpen right now. Very, very thin ice. And maybe Swanson gets the nod again. I know you're checking how he's been
Mhm.
doing. Where you think?
Yeah, he's got a 7.2 ERA in 8 innings, giving up 11, 8 and 2/3 innings,
What
sorry.
has happened to him?
Giving up 11 hits, 7 walks in 8 and 2/3. That's not good. I don't know what's going on with Swanson this year. We know how volatile relievers could be, Nick, but he was one of the more consistent ones in baseball last season, and a big reason why the Blue Jays made the playoffs,
Yeah.
which I think is a reason why they decided not to bring back Jordan Hicks because they saw how good Eric Swanson and Romano had been in the eighth and ninth innings before Hicks came over in that trade with the St. Louis Cardinals. So he's got to figure something out here. He's still under team control for another 2 seasons after this one, but he's got to play a role this season. He can't just stay in AAA and not progress. He's got to find something here, but he hasn't been good. So I wouldn't be confident calling him back up right now if I'm the Blue Jays.
Yeah. Villarreal is going to come back. I don't know. I'd assume after this, if Jimmy goes on the IR, or the IL, sorry, then we'll probably get Uriel back. You have Burr, who they traded for a couple weeks ago. Can we use Rodriguez as a reliever? Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably their plan. I guess piggyback him and Bowden Francis, and then keep Trevor Richards for leverage because he's been really good. I guess. I don't know. They're having to
Mhm.
get creative with it. There's not really many choices for the Jays right now.
But Trevor Richards, the way that he's been pitching, he's got to be a high leverage arm
Yeah.
for you. But every fifth day, he's starting a game for you, or he's opening a game for you. He's going 2, 3 innings, trying to get 9 outs for you, and then he's off. He's on the shelf for a couple of days. So man, I just don't know if that's a recipe for success. I know it's been working, but it just feels like patchwork at this point. It doesn't feel like something that they can replicate for the rest of the season. I don't know how you feel about it, Nick, but whenever there's a bullpen day, I feel like that's just a scheduled loss for the Blue Jays. Even though it hasn't played out that way, I think if you keep doing them, teams are going to figure you out and
Yeah.
just won't work out for you.
Yeah. Just doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't work in the long term. That's why they called up Manoah. And ultimately it worked with Manoah until he got hurt. There's so many injuries now, and the Jays have been fortunate the past couple of years with injuries. Now it's all kind of it's all kind of crumbling down for them. Yeah, they can use Rodriguez as a reliever. They probably will, or maybe they'll start him and have Bowden piggybacking off of him. I mean, Bowden had a great start last game too. He went 4 innings or start 4 innings,
Yeah.
no hits. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting spot. It's an interesting spot for the bullpen, and it sucks that he got hurt because the narrative right now should be great vibes. The Jays maybe can get back to 500. I'll be so happy when they get to 500 if they get to 500 tomorrow. I've been waiting so long.
They'll get there. They'll get there, I think. Maybe if the Jays keep playing okay baseball and are, in the mix by
By
the trade deadline, you might be talking about a starter coming over here. I'm
Garrett
not saying,
Crochet.
no, not Garrett Crochet, but definitely somebody
Eat
that can eat
innings.
some innings that has been around. And I think that's going to be the
Where's
key
Lance Lynn
here
these
for the
days?
Jays. I don't know if you want Lance Lynn on your
No.
team in 2024. Let me stop you right there, Nick. But I think that might be the focus for the Jays at the deadline if they're in the mix and if they can't find an option as a fifth starter internally.
Yeah. I hope Walker works with the aerial with the control. Yeah, controls. I saw him in person. Stuff is nasty. Controls the big thing, but you can work on that. You can definitely, and he hasn't pitched in a while either. Well,
That's true. That's true.
he was off
He
for a
didn't
bit.
pitch last year. He didn't
That's
pitch
another
last
thing.
year.
Yeah, didn't pitch last year, and then he comes in this
Yeah.
year, and now then he got
Yeah.
injured. So I think he'll. I think it'll work. I think he's going to be very good. 4 more years, or I guess 3 years after this season. Or his contract's weird. I think he can go up to 5.
It's 5 years.
Yeah,
It's
with a
5 years.
bunch of different
So
options.
yeah.
So I mean,
It's a long-term thing with Yariel Rodriguez. I don't think this year is a make or break year for him, but I don't even know if they wanted him as a starter for this season. But
necessity.
he's been pushed into that role because of all the injuries around the team, and he's done well. He's done well in his limited time there, but I think there's a limit on how much he's going to be able to pitch this season, which is why we'll probably see him in the bullpen towards the end of the year. But I think right now, if he first comes up, probably going to be a starter.
Maybe one high leverage reliever, but no starting pitcher. It depends how they're doing. Like if they need a starter, and they're, I mean, it depends how the next few weeks go. They definitely need to add a hitter though. Current situation, I wouldn't mind Lance Lynn. Eats innings, veteran. I don't know. He's cooked though, but
What's I'm thinking about a name here at the trade deadline, Nick. I know there's been a lot of talk about the Chicago White Sox players, Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert. What do you think of an Andrew Vaughn situation
hmm,
as a DH?
do they need another
Been
DH?
swinging it. He's been swinging it lately. Well, Justin,
He's
you
terrible.
want
Yeah,
Justin Turner in the lineup?
Turner's terrible.
I think if Turner, I think at this point you can cut ties with Turner and wouldn't cost you too much for the Jays. It wouldn't be that big of a
Some
backbreaker
team will
for
probably
you.
take him too. Really, I might trade for him a prospect.
Let's look at Andrew Vaughn's numbers. Okay, so I know he started off really badly, but lately he's been tearing it up. So in the
I'm gonna
past
grab his stats
month,
as well
give
to throw
me
on the screen here.
give me a second here. Give me a second.
He has a
Batting
670
splits.
OPS, but he has been
Yeah,
doing
but he
really good.
started off terribly,
Yeah,
terribly, terribly. So let's look at months. In June, he's batting 340 with a 365 OBP,
and I'll just show you from
680
what.
slug.
Yep. Now these are his total stats
So
skewed by the
yeah,
brutal months before. Vaughn would be nice. Yeah, I like
so
it.
an OPS over 1,000, and he's got 5 home runs in the month of June in 12 games. He's been tearing it up, and he's not a world beater by any stretch, but he's someone that you could probably get for cheap if you're the Blue Jays, and someone that is a former top prospect, got the talent, all the talent in the world, not very versatile positionally, but that's why you have guys like Ernie Clement and Isaiah Kiner Falefa and Spencer Horwitz to a certain degree as well. I think that could be a name
Yeah.
to watch for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Hit the like
Let me
button
know what
if
you
you like
guys
that.
think in the
Hit
comments.
the like button
Yeah.
if you like that deal from, or if you want, hit the like button anyways. But yeah, I like. I mean, this White Sox are selling. Probably won't cost too much. Um, I don't mind it. I mean, I also don't mind Luis Robert Jr. But that
Yeah, but you're gonna have to sell off a lot of assets for Robert. But Vaughn, I think, is definitely someone to keep an eye on if you're the Blue Jays.
I like it. I'm enjoying the bow break. Yeah, some people have been saying that. I mean, they won back-to-back games without him. I do think you still need him in the lineup to get it going because he actually will probably get it going eventually. Vaughn's lack of eyebrows could blind the opposing pitchers and give us an advantage. That is crazy. That is absurd. He good hitter though, even though that would
Yeah,
kind of mean the end of the
pretty
Justin
good,
Turner era.
which I'm fine with.
He was so
I'm
good
fine
too.
with. In the first month, yeah, it sucks. It
39 years
sucks,
old though.
but yeah, the bat speed's not there. I mean, maybe he's just in a really prolonged slump, but I don't know. I don't know. That's it's tough. It's tough to expect huge things out of a 39-year-old, even though he's been pretty healthy and durable in his whole career. I think it's hard to
Yeah.
have expected him to be a big part of the turnaround of the offense. I thought that was madness coming into the season.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a compliment, not a carrier, and ultimately he helped carry the start. Who knows where he'd be without him? I'd rather have a Relvis at DH over us at DH spot over Turner. I mean, right now, yeah, but I don't think they think a Relvis is ready. Offensively or defensively. Offensively closer, obviously, but I mean
And where does he play?
I guess
Where does he play?
DH and yeah, third base, I
But you
guess.
don't want him DHing though. You don't want him to DH because this guy is going to be a big part of your future, and you don't want to tie him down to that DH position
Yeah.
at 22 years old. You want him to play the field and progress defensively, which he's not great at. He's not a great defender, so I think that's what's holding him back from being a big leaguer. It's not his hitting. We know how much power he has, but can't play third base at a average level. He's okay at second base. I don't know where he fits defensively for this team. So I think they have enough offense that they called up that can fill in like in all those positions that a Relvis can play at. So I don't see that happening. Not this year, maybe.
Tyler O'Neill instead of Kevin. I mean, yeah, in hindsight, that would have been. I mean, really, before it happened, picking up Kevin Kiermaier again didn't make a whole lot of sense, but they did it to say they did something. I guess. I mean, we can go back and forth about that all day. I don't know. We're also less than 10 likes away. Let's get to 30 likes before we shout out the 86 in here. Yeah, I don't know. Kevin Kiermaier signing is so mystery to me. I'll never understand it. But
Not especially not when you have Dalton Varsho on your team, who's
better at
probably
everything.
the best defensive outfielder in the league
Yeah,
and playing in left field because you gave 10 million bucks to Kiermaier. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
yeah, it's even worse in
But
hindsight because now he's not even hitting like he did last year, 710 OPS. I don't know. I
but
mean,
did he really hit last year? Like he was good by Kiermaier standards, but he was not elite offensively by
nope,
any stretch.
still below average. So like, oh, all those moves now in hindsight make it so much harder. But the Jays won today, so I mean,
But he's not playing. He's not playing. So I think the Jays have realized their mistake in that regard. But yeah, he's eating up a roster spot from somebody that could definitely be a better contributor offensively.
maybe that.
His defense is great. His
Yeah,
defense is great in like the eighth or ninth inning in a Bradley Zimmer role, but he's making too much money to be just doing that. So it doesn't make sense.
yeah. They had Nathan Lucas down there who was tearing it up. Now he's hurt. So maybe if
Yeah.
Lucas wasn't hurt, they would have given him a chance. A lot of what ifs for this trade this offseason, the past offseason for Ross Atkins. Otani is probably the biggest one, but I don't even want to think about that ever again. Turner has been
I think
abysmal.
I'm over that.
Yeah,
I think I'm over that. I mean, it was fun for a week or two when we felt like we were going to get him.
JP Hornshaw is
But
never. He's never gonna be forgiven.
he's never allowed into the country.
Nope.
JP Hornstra.
Or
Followed
John.
me on Twitter, by the way.
Mm,
I don't know why. I don't know why, because
that's lit.
I actually ripped into him on Twitter and then he followed me. So
Bellinger,
whatever, man.
Bellinger and JD would have been better than Kevin Kiermaier and Turner. Yeah. I don't really like the Bellinger deal too much, but
It was a short deal though with the
yeah, well, it
Cubs.
did end up being light. He's like 750 OPS last time we checked, so maybe he
Better
changed
than
it.
Kiermaier.
Yeah, better than most honestly Blue Jays hitters. So he has a now he has a 771 OPS. So maybe it would have been fine.
Pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I would have
Paul
took it.
Blackburn, that's an interesting name by Anthony Palmo here. How do you guys feel about Paul Blackburn from the A's as a possible fifth starter? I don't mind that. Innings eater, veteran guy.
That's a good one.
Decent stuff. Not a strikeout pitcher by any means, but solid. Solid. I would take Paul
And the A's are
Blackburn.
definitely gonna sell whatever they have left before they move
Yeah.
to Sacramento.
Yeah.
Justin
For
Turner
a
can go.
season.
We reliving the Otani situation next free agent appearance for the front runners for Soto with $500 million offer. Honestly, I'm down to relive that. That was great for us. That was great for the. That was a
Would you
crazy run.
give Juan Soto $500 million?
Yes.
dollars?
Yeah. Screw it.
600?
Honestly, at this point, just think. Yeah, he's great.
That's ridiculous.
Not my
I
money.
wouldn't. Yeah, but
That is a lot. But he
It's
is
a
like the
lot of
best
money,
hitter in
man.
baseball, or one of the best hitters, top five, top
Eh,
three.
He's not better than Aaron Judge.
Nope.
No one's better than Aaron Judge right now, who we will see at the end of this month,
Oh,
by the
it's
way.
so
So
yeah. I mean,
let's
don't
uh
remind me about
let's
that.
get geared up for that. Let's get geared up
25
for
home
that.
runs. He has 5 WAR. Aaron Judge does, and he started off bad. Oh, he
Also,
crazy.
I didn't say this yet, Nick. Happy Father's Day to everybody in here. I know you wished everybody a happy Father's Day on the video that wasn't able to make it today, but happy Father's Day to all of you out there. Hopefully, you all took in
It's a
this
good,
game
big win.
with your dads or your kids and all had a good time celebrating a Blue Jays win today. But happy Father's Day to all the great dads out there and go Blue Jays.
It was great. It was a good win. I mean, ultimately they won, which gives me some optimism for tomorrow, where they can hopefully reach that goal that has been so illustrious for reaching 500 in
Sad,
June.
sad. It's going to be a tough matchup tomorrow with Nick Pivetta on the mound, and then you have Tanner Houck the next day, who has a 2.08 ERA.
It's gonna be a good test for him.
Yeah,
What's up, Gabriel?
very
Yeah,
good test.
elbow soreness, so not great. That's what Manoa's thing initially was, I believe, and then now he's gonna probably get Tommy John surgery. It's been
I think
in
he is going to get TJ, isn't
yeah,
he?
I think they haven't fully confirmed that yet, but maybe they did over the past couple of days. I know the initial thing was he's going
But
to see
he's
the
out for the
doctor. He
year.
is out for the year.
He's out for the year, so that usually signifies some TJ action going on.
Maybe he'll bounce back. It is a red flag. That would be terrible if Jimmy Garcia is out for a long period of time. Like devastating
Yeah,
news.
yeah. Because where do you go from there in terms of replenishing the back end of your bullpen? Do you make a move at the deadline? I mean, let's not speak it into existence, obviously, but you got a plan for that. And let's say it is serious with Jimmy and he's got to miss significant time. He's also a free agent at the end of the
Yep,
year, which would totally suck.
for him
Then you
too.
lose him.
Yeah,
Yes, for yeah, yeah. So what do you do there? What do you do?
call up
I don't
AAA
know.
guys and hope, even though we don't have many.
Mm.
Like I think they'll be able to. Well, they will not be able to trade Jimmy now. I don't think they're going to trade Jimmy anyways. To be honest, I mean maybe if they completely. Yeah, it sucks for him if he gets out long term. Oh, cost him millions of dollars. He was one of the more premier relievers heading into the offseason, assuming he kept this up, even though he has been shaky as of late. Yeah, you almost have to.
I hope he's all right. I hope he's all right.
When you put in all the Buffalo players every day and sit the starters, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what they did today. And they'll probably do it tomorrow. They'll probably sit one of Schneider or Clement, though, because it's already.
So what? Who
Yeah, keep him
cares?
in,
You gotta
whatever.
that's I mean that's probably what they're gonna do because that's how the Blue Jays roll. But man, you just gotta ride the hot hand here. You have to. There's no excuse for this. If a guy's rolling and he's swinging the bat, you got to keep him in the lineup. And I saw a tweet by Davis Schneider's dad, and he said because he can't access the Blue Jays broadcast wherever they are in New Jersey, I believe. So he couldn't access the Blue Jays broadcast. He's listening to the Guardians broadcast, and they're talking about Ernie Clement, who was a former Guardian,
Yep.
and they were saying this guy went 2 for 3 yesterday, 2 out of the 3 hits that the Blue Jays got in that game, and he's not in the lineup the next day. And now he's 2 for 2 today to start off. Note to John Schneider, he's got to be in the lineup every day. That's what the Cleveland Guardians broadcast
Yeah, it's
said.
crazy.
So you know it's bad when you're getting tips and pointers from an opposing team that you see 6 times a year.
Yeah.
Do better.
2 likes away from 30 likes. Hit the like button if you love John Schneider. Well, actually, hit the like button if you love Ernie Clement, rather. And the Jays are 4 games back still of the wild card race because the Twins have went on a bit of a win streak. They've won 4 in a row, so they haven't been able to make up any ground on them, which is rough.
And the Twins playing 2 games today, by the way.
They won the first one, right?
I believe they were up 4-0. Let me see.
They did, yeah.
Let me see. But yeah, they're playing the Minnesota. They're playing the Oakland A's. So
And they've won a lot in a row, and then they play the Rays and the A's again. So that's not something to keep an eye on yet. It's too early for that. The Jays just need to win their own games, and that'll all work itself out. But
Hmm.
They had a chance to make up ground, and they lost a couple games, and now they're 4 games back, which is still not a horrible spot to be in. But imagine they lost today, 5 games back of a wild card. So, I don't know. Would have been almost too much. 6-2,
You
yeah.
got to stay. You got to stay within striking distance. That's the number one goal here.
If only we were in the
That's it.
NL, where every team is terrible. Every team is like 500 or worse. I wish we had traded for Max Kepler in the offseason. Never thought I'd hear a time where we were hoping that we traded for Max Kepler. Though he's been good.
It's not bad.
It's sad that we just want to get to 500. It's just a stepping stone. We want to be, what's up, Corsario 59.
I think
Pirates
it's a
51.
mental thing too, getting to 500. Like the team has been playing pretty decently as of late, and they just can't get there. So I feel like once they get there, they're gonna say, "All right,
Now we
we
go.
can do it." And that's when we might see an 8-2 stretch, where
It's
we
what they
might see a
need.
9-1 stretch. That's what they need. That's what they need to create a little bit of distance between the win and the loss column. But I think once they get back to that 500 mark, then there's going to be some mental edge that they'll gain.
1 game at a time. Win tomorrow,
Hmm.
500. Win the next game. That John Schneider's been saying, and I agree with him in that. One of the rare things I agree with him with. Just win. Win each game. And again, getting back to 500. Look, the Yankees are 50 and 23. So we're not going to get near that, but we can maybe get
Oh,
near.
yeah, the division's out of the question.
Yep.
There's no doubt. But yeah, it's building blocks, right? It's win one game at a time, but even within those games, win a half inning at a time. Like give yourself an edge within the game. Win an inning at a time. That it's got to be little small battles that lead to a W. And I think that's what the Blue Jays have been doing lately. They've been trying to chip away, win an inning at a time. Win a little small portion of the game, and that'll lead to a W. So I think that's what they're doing, and it's working out for them. They're focusing on one pitch at a time, one at bat at a time, and one inning at a time.
Yeah, and they need to do that starting tomorrow. I mean, Red Sox are the easiest team they play in the next couple weeks, aside from the Red Sox
Yeah.
again. So, I don't know, Peter. Any thoughts before we start to wrap up here? It's been a good one. Encouraged. That's the word I'm going to use. They're not back. I'm not using the B word, but they're encouraged. They need to take this Red Sox series. If they lose this series, it's only going to get harder from there. Like they need to win tomorrow for the morale, and then just take the series and then go from there.
Encouraged for sure. Like I'm very excited that they got the win today, and I'm happy. I'm happy that they were able to win 2 out of 3 against Cleveland, despite looking so bad on the first night on Friday night. So good result, headed in the right direction. And yeah, New Brunswick, Canada guy,
Yep.
just affirming what we've been saying. Try to win series. Just win 2 out of 3. Don't try to go for the sweep. Obviously, you're trying to win every ball game, but your focus has to be being better than the other team. And how do you do that? It's by taking 2 out of 3 and getting home safe with a series win. So keep doing that, and you put yourself in a good spot.
And they did that today. So we're encouraged by that. But yeah, that'll wrap it up. Hit the like button on your way out. We'll have a video or stream for you tomorrow, depending on what's on the go. But yeah, Peter, nice win. Nice,
Big win.
yeah, very, very big win. Make sure to hit the like button on the way out. Everyone have a safe Father's Day. Enjoy, spend time with your father. Hopefully you enjoyed the Jays win. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. And at some point tomorrow. And check out the video earlier today if you're interested in more Jays stuff because